I can hear you, Lucas. I can hear you. Can anybody hear me?
We hear you perfect. Yes.
I hear everybody. I don't know if you hear me, but I hear you guys.
We're having bear with us. It sounds like we're having some technical difficulties because that's how we work. And Lucas, we're live. We have sound. I think the only wild card is that Lucas can't hear us.
Oh no.
And somebody's got YouTube on in the background, and I can hear that too. Can somebody mute their YouTube? No worries. Okay, well, let's just fire this thing up, and hopefully we'll figure it out as we roll. Welcome everybody to the 13th episode of Filling the Void. My name is Ben Andrews, and it's my honor to co-host today's episode with Daniel Soul and Theo Dumont from HollyShorts. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Doing good. We're doing good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. No, well, thanks for joining, of course.
Yeah, excited to have this hype discussion about the screenplay contest. I'm liking it. I'm very excited.
Cool. Well, we got a lot to go through, so I thought we'd today just talk about the evolution of our projects with a bunch of transparency and just talk through the nature of the journey so the audience can kind of see how we've approached and handled our partnership.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. Well, before we go too deep, we have a video that we made. It's a little dated. Todd, if you can bring that up, it shows the northwest side of the partnership.
We started growing. We watered ourselves.
And then Todd, are we muted while this is playing?
Being at HollyShorts, a day of Washington film. It has and always will be about creating opportunity for our local talent.
So many years.
A few years ago, a group of like-minded entrepreneurial organizations got together, and we started discussing ideas on one, how do we foster and mentor our local talent, but more importantly, how do we start building stronger bridges to LA? In 2013, we came together, and in collaboration with HollyShorts Film Festival, one of the most prestigious short film festivals in the country, and we formed the Northwest Film Day.
Is that correct?
This included a Washington film block, Washington panelists, and even a Washington-sponsored party.
No, I'm not.
My name is Kirk Lundstrom, and I am the city producer for the Seattle 48-hour film project. He's like, yeah, I got a great idea. How about whoever wins, that film plays?
That's okay. They're getting our commentary over there.
The reason that I sponsor this Washington Film Day is, I believe in the filmmakers in Seattle.
Okay. You guys aged me.
We got involved with HollyShorts and Washington Film Day through our friend Ben Andrews. He approached us a few years ago.
Yeah, I aged myself. So definitely,
interesting to see where this will lead. And sure enough, maybe a year later, he was on the phone with me and telling me, "Hey, I need help. We have a screenplay with it, and we need to cast a project and get this thing filmed in Seattle."
My name is Karen McDonald, and I run the Seattle office of Kerner Camera Systems. Lorraine Montez had emailed me, and when she told me that there was a Washington Day down in Hollywood to promote filmmaking in Washington, I said, yeah, let's do this.
Well, I got a call from the lovely and talented Ben Andrews, who I've known for many years. He proposed this event to me. I felt that the sponsorship was a fair price. And I went down and I had a ball, and I thought it was a great value for my company. I think this has been valuable to me, and I would, I'm going to continue to do it, and I would encourage you to do it as well.
It highlights our local talent, but it also brings in a talented writer-director from out of state to really see what the Northwest has to offer.
We have determined that
if your organization is community-focused and interested in helping us develop local talent, this endeavor is a no-brainer. We finally have the spotlight. Now, we just have to steal the show.
I'm watching this. Just think over here and
This is what...
Now we got some outtakes.
We've just wrapped...
We should probably do it one more time.
Why?
I just realized I was looking in the camera the whole time.
You weren't looking at the...
No.
I told you to look on the side of the camera. I think it's gonna be fine.
Okay.
Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, that worked.
Okay. I think we're officially done with this stuff. Thank you, everyone, for tolerating our commentary on the back end. Gentlemen, I know that our lovely partnership started in 2014, but why don't you just give the audience a quick synopsis of how you started HollyShorts? Either one of you.
Do you want to start? You jump. Theo, you start. I'll jump in.
Yeah, no, it was simple. Daniel and I are childhood friends. We grew up in Miami, Florida. We played basketball together. His brother is an actor, Alex Soul. He was in films like Tony Kaye's American History X. And we all moved to Los Angeles after school. And a lot of our friends were artists and actors and in the kind of industry and community. And we started putting on showcases. His brother had a theater called the Space Theater on Western in Los Angeles and Hollywood. And we started putting on actor showcases just to stimulate action for our friends and people we loved. And then somewhere along the line, I called Daniel and we're like, why don't we just use this venue and do a one-day festival, show a bunch of movies. And then we decided to call it HollyShorts. And he's like, let's go. We did it. And then even that first one had a lot of energy. And then it became almost like a family business. We would watch movies, get submissions, and then program them every August. And it became bigger and bigger. And then year 3, it started exploding. We had Adrian Grenier from Entourage at the time. He presented a film. And then year 5, we had the Egyptian, the American Cinematheque. It became like a 3 or 4 day event. And you had Jessica Biel, Josh Brolin, Paul Haggis, David Lynch sent a short, and that really put us on the map. Our 5th year is when it exploded, and everybody would go back to their respective homes and territories from all over the world and talk about it, France and Spain, and then it got bigger and bigger, and now it's massive, Oscar qualifying.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summary. And basically, yeah, it kind of started off as this sort of idea of let's get together with the group of friends we had. Because Theo mentioned we're childhood friends, and Theo and I, but we have a bigger tier, a group of friends from Florida that moved out to Los Angeles with us. So they were all involved with watching the films, programming, setting up lights, helping out. Theo's cousin Philippe was like setting up the projector the first year. Like it goes that far back, 16 years, and it's been the same team and same family, because it is a family affair, getting together and putting this thing on every year. It's just that now it's not just a 30-seat theater. Now it's 1,000-seat Chinese theater. So it changed and grew from there. But the initial heart of that is still always the same. And the initial team is still us the same, putting this on and pushing this forward together. But that was sort of the idea, was let's just make something happen for the creatives that we knew, that we looked around Los Angeles and felt like, LA didn't have enough to offer in this regard. Oddly enough, we thought that was weird. So we figured, let's take our hat and try it. Not knowing what we were doing or knowing what would happen, but we wanted to just obviously put a toe in the water and try. And from there, just stepping blocks of each year, just growing. The word got out more. Once you have one celebrity like that, then all of a sudden the next year you have Josh Brolin submitting his film and Jessica Biel submitting a film. You're like, wait, wow, we have this big names that want to come and they want to attend as well. So not only that year did we have them come, did they have the films? They all attended. They all showed up, which was we were like, whoa, like, the red carpet, everyone's like, hey, you guys walking? We're like, I don't know. Do we walk? I don't even know what we do.
It was like almost an accident. It was an accident, accidental business. It was just almost like, imagine a house party, a community of friends sharing the best of the best every year. And then people were like, oh, we've heard about this. We're coming. Like Eli Roth. I think it was year 5 or 6. It was this similar thing. He was on the press run for Inglourious Basterds. And he's like, yeah, not only do I want to come and do a
So we're off to a little bit of a bumpy start technically here, Lukas, and we're a little bit out of order. So
sure.
I'm gonna give a little bit of background, and then we'll just play around, and we'll get. You are now officially a co-host. Let me just put it that way, Lukas. Whenever you want. We're off.
I've just been listening in to Daniel and Theo describing how they started their festival. And it's, so I can speak as a filmmaker that like, when I joined the festival circuit with my first short film back in 2014, HollyShorts already was one of those festivals people were talking about. It's like, this is the one in LA that if you have a short, this is the one you really want to get into. And as you guys were saying, it's pretty amazing that you were able to fill a void in LA with this incredible festival you built up, because you would think there would have been sort of lots of festivals for the taking, but you guys went in there and you filled it with a film festival of quality, which is obviously why it's managed to stay on and stay at that level. So kudos to you was my only point of that note.
Thank you. Very well appreciated. Well, I always throw it back to you is we're where we are, where we can be because of you, because the filmmakers like Lukas, Hassel, and writers and directors that are coming to us with your great projects and trusting us with that, the combination of us finding it, obviously seeing the eye, seeing the talent, but we need the films. If you don't send them our way, we don't have nothing. We have nothing. So we're very blessed to have this great community that's grown of just awesome talent that's coming our way. And so that's also a segue to this contest. So the screenplay contest came born from that. We were seeing these great films and submissions, but we realized, what if we could do something where we have see the scripts out there and get some films made based on this contest? So the best of the best scripts made. And that was inspiration for that. And then accelerated with meeting Ben in Austin, and I'll kick that to Ben so Ben can jump into that further a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, was pretty simple. We met at South by in Austin in 2014, and I know officially I was 1 year into the creation of the Seattle Film Summit, and I told you guys I was simply looking to expand opportunities for Northwest filmmakers in LA. And we allied, and per the video, you guys were so kind. You allowed us to sponsor and gave us a whole day where we got to screen Washington films, have a panel, have a party. And then shortly thereafter, I think you guys started your screenplay competition. Was it that year or the year before?
It was either the year before or that year. It's been 7 years now. It's the 7th year now, going to 8th year next year. So that would be 2021. So it's 2013 to 2020, right? So yeah. So I want to take us through the progression of these films, and we're going to show some clips of each one of them. And Lukas's film was the second one, but the first one was the Lunchbox Brigade. But before we dive into that, Todd, let's bring our current winner in, and that is Lindiwe. And this is the 2019 winner, whose film we have not shot yet. And I wanted Lindiwe to be part of this journey with us as we go through time and talk to some of the old filmmakers. Oh, you're muted, Theo.
Yeah, hey.
Hi.
Hey.
There she is. Lindiwe.
Hi, Theo. I haven't seen you in a while, too.
How's it going?
Hey. All the way live.
Something real quick. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
Something very important. Ben is a man of his word. Honorable person, because a lot of times you go to these festivals and you meet people and things don't transpire, things don't happen after. It was a very clear conversation, and basically he did what he said. And so that's why we're here today.
True. We actually at the party there laid a lot of the stuff out, and like this is in very simple in terms, very obviously what we were thinking, and we actually have been doing that ever since.
I want to jump in and echo that, because the first conversation I had with Ben about producing this film as the winner or whatever, I was like, yeah, we've all met those people, right? Let's see. And it was, again, very clear call, very simple call, and it happened. So I agree with Theo. Yep.
Well, cool. Well, let's, we don't have the filmmaker for the first year, but I did want to show the trailer of it, because we dove in and we provided this production grant, and in partnership with HollyShorts and a lot of local filmmakers, we decided to do what you shouldn't do. We made a movie about kids with lots of animals in it. Todd, why don't you cue up the first one? And this is a story about
for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's go!
What next, sir? We need to find the lodge where they're holding Johnny captive. Sue, use the fireworks to create a distraction. And Bugsy, sneak into the camp's offices and get the list of the campers and their whereabouts.
Once it's dark, light it up like the 4th of July. Best holiday.
Logan, take these night vision goggles and keep lookout. If you see a guard, give us 3 owl hoots and a platypus whistle. Clyde, you'll accompany me and help me get into the cabin so I can rescue Johnny. You with me?
To camp and back.
Let's hope for the back.
So that was year one, right? And this is when like none of us really knew what we were expecting. And from our side of the fence in Washington, this was basically a workforce development project. We put a lot of our students to work. We didn't have any state grants or city grants or anything like that. The only people that were making this happen were coming out of their own pockets as producers. And I just want to shout them out real quick, which was Lorraine Montez, Marissa Fujimoto, David Hogan, Christopher Maurer, Ryan Wagenhauser. And then we put this together and we survived. And then we put it in, and this first year it wasn't in opening night at HollyShorts because I think we were all just kind of waiting to see what happened.
Right. Yeah.
And
just to give a context to everyone, it's the goal or the idea is the winner gets the grant and gets produced with the quote unquote $10,000 prize. Naturally that sways, and obviously now things get a little more expensive. And then the film gets made and then placed in the festival, essentially automatic slot. So we will screen the film the following year. So for years it was that way, but as this film started off, like you said, it was a starting point. So we weren't going opening night yet because of the caliber of what that could be. And we'll get to the opening night stuff shortly because that's where it's going.
Yeah, but even at the start, it was it felt like an incredible opportunity. We had never done anything like this before. We would never participate in that part. It was either exhibiting projects that are already complete. That was it, and so this became a new thing for us. We never really worked with a territory to bridge a gap and integrate a screenplay contest. So it was new, but you and your team. So I actually use everything as a case study of how a hybrid think tank to make content could work.
So you have so it's a good call. So essentially, we have this big experiment in 2016 and nobody dies and everybody's pretty happy, right? And from a Washington perspective, we're able to take all those kids to LA and they're able to see this on the big screen and, have that red carpet walk. And I believe half those cast members, those children are now LA working actors. So you guys gave them an opportunity, you gave them a path. So from a Washington perspective, we're really appreciative of that.
Yeah, one of the kids, he's still always tweeting at us or like he's always on social media. Like I'm always connected with him all the time. He's always tweeting us or tagging our stuff or posting about us to this day. But he's a lot older now. It's
So let's fast forward now to Lukas Hassel and the Son, the Father, 2017. And by the way, Lindy, Lukas, one of our favorite filmmakers.
Hey,
change the game.
Change the game.
Congrats on winning 2019. That's awesome.
Thank you very, very, very much.
You have a great ride in front of you, and you're going to be in very good hands.
I can already feel that. It's been they've been very welcoming, like a family. It's really great.
So Lukas, why don't you tell us about your experience with the festival and with the production, and then just something that might have stuck out to you about the whole journey?
Well, I mean, as all of you know, as filmmakers and writers yourselves, you have a lot of festivals and competitions out there, and you're like, you're asking around which ones are the best ones, which ones who have a shot at actually making something happen. And when I looked up HollyShorts, not only, of course, was it well known as a festival in its own right, but the fact that it said the winning script was going to get some kind of production deal is extremely rare. Like, where do you see that? I mean, how often does that actually happen? So a big part of me didn't really buy that. I thought it was going to be some like tax incentive if you yourself bring in money, that maybe blah, 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 blah. So I was like, whatever. The chances of winning these things are incredibly small, as you know, because there's a lot of luck involved, so many scripts. So I submitted this script that I felt was fairly strong, fairly odd. And then on Facebook, somebody posted later on saying, congrats to Lukas. Hassel, I guess I won't make my film. And I was like, wait a second. I hadn't even heard from you guys yet at that point. Apparently you had made some announcement somewhere. So then I tracked you guys down and I was like, wait a second, what's going on? And they're like, well, you won the script and this guy in Seattle is going to help you make it. And I was like, sure, okay, great. Let's see what happens. And then we had that phone call I just referred to before. I'm literally sitting in Starbucks and I get this call from, this is Ben Andrews, who sounded super pleasant, super un-Hollywood producer, nothing mean, calculative in his voice. And he's like, yeah, listen, we made this film last year, the Lunch Brigade thing, and I'm happy to send you a link. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm still sorting out if this is real now. I'm still sorting out, what's going on here. Cut to me in a sort of a casting office on my knees or something, who knows. So the first indicator that this was real and that this was going to be an honest process was that Ben said, well, listen, I can give you the email of the director of last year's film and you can just email him and talk to him yourself. And I was like, wait a second, you're not even going to sort of mediate or sort of watch what this guy might actually be telling me? I mean, you're risking this guy will say, these guys are jerks, run the opposite way. And I was like, wait a second, that's pretty brave, that's pretty bold. And so we finished the conversation. Ben was like, yeah, this is what I need from you. This is what I see going forward. And I called that guy and the guy was like, they're great, go for it. They're really, really nice people. They're going to make it happen. And I was like, sure. And from then we started building this sort of connection with Lorraine Montez and other good folks up there. And I gave a list of locations. I gave a list of what actors I needed. And before you know it, I had a call from David Hogan and Angela DeMarco, the casting directors, that I was going to Skype in for the casting session. I was going to pick my actors from New York. I'm based in New York. And you guys, of course, are in Seattle with the production company. And they were sending me pictures and videos of locations. And I was like, this cannot be real. Like, this cannot actually be this good. Because nothing was like, yeah, we can't do that. Or, no, we have the budget of $8. So we have to shoot it on an iPhone. It was like, everything was very professional. Everything was very on the ball. And 4 days before shooting, I flew up to Seattle, met my DP, the AD, the set designer. We went out to all the locations. They were real. I was blown away that they actually existed, that there was a crew waiting for us to actually do this. I met with my actors. We rehearsed with the actors. And 3 days later, we then started shooting, which was an incredibly professional set. There were students helping out as PAs, but all the people in the top positions knew exactly what they were doing. My mantra coming in as a filmmaker from outside, not knowing anybody, it was kind of unusual to come into a production where I had nothing to do with, let me turn that off, where I had nothing to do with setting my crew up. My challenge was sort of to figure out who I could trust and who these people were. But my mantra was be pleasant and be present. Every single morning on the set was just, these people are here giving me an incredible opportunity to make this film with HollyShorts. So whatever happens, be grateful and make the most of it. And I think everybody gelled. The final production that we came out with, I think everybody felt good about. There was always the lingering doubt of whether we were going to be put in the 12 o'clock noon Seattle block, or if we were going to make a run for that opening night, sort of, let's make it happen sort of thing. So I think Ben sort of used his magic charm on you two, Daniel and Theo, and sort of pushed for it a little bit. And I think the film held up well enough amongst other very strong films. So in the end, it was incredible to sort of come in for opening night in the Chinese Theater in LA and the red carpet and just the incredible crowd of Full House and celebrities. And it was just magical, really magical.
Awesome. Yeah, I didn't have to. I didn't have to use magic, dude. The film spoke for itself. So that's all, my brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
How many
because
shoots did you have?
oh yeah, but then you go ahead.
We shot 3 days. So I had one full day of going around to the locations with the top crew people, and then I had a day of rehearsal, and then I had a day just to wrap my head around it, and we shot for 3 days.
Right.
And we used every minute.
Okay.
Literally that kind of thing. We were down to like, I needed this one drone shot that nobody else wanted to give me. And I was like, we had the drone guy, he was hanging out. The problem with the drone shot was we needed to move all the crew trucks away from outside the house. So it wasn't just a quick shot. We actually had to have everybody stop what they were doing, move their shit, so we can go out and get the drone shot. But I knew we needed it, but it was like, okay, we have 2 minutes, we're doing it now.
We're doing it,
and everybody just gave that extra, hour and a half that we needed to get the last shot. But there were some hairy moments, as you know, on film shoots, there are always some hairy moments and scary times, and you're like, wow, is this really going to happen, or is it all going to fall apart? So it happened.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I would say like the film, Ben said, look, we want to try this. We were open to that discussion, but we had to watch the film and say, okay, we're comfortable with this film being opening night. Like the film speaks for itself. If we'll be honest, like, in the end, it's still the films have to speak for themselves. If we feel like, oh, this is not the caliber that we can present this with this in this audience, this showcase, the opening night is a big platform. It just fit right in, and it felt right to move this thing forward, to grow this contest, to grow this whole collaboration. It made the most sense for all of us involved. But yeah, the films have to speak for themselves and be that good, and that's what it was. So if it wasn't, we would have been like, oh well, no, we're too full. We'll put it over here.
So much for your charm, Ben.
Yeah, sorry, Ben. No,
okay.
And also, I want to quickly interject about the film itself. So we're talking about HollyShorts a lot, obviously, naturally. But what's cool about the projects has been the collaborations and the acceptances and the awards at other festivals. So, Lukas, I want to quickly throw it to you and throw, let us know more about that, because Son of the Fathers played at like, is it 100 plus festivals?
It's up around that number. Yeah. I mean, it was always part of my, I'm always amazed when I meet other filmmakers that make their film, spend all that time and money and effort and good people's work, and then submit to like 8 festivals and get into one. And I'm like, well, listen, it's fine if your film is no good. That's cool, whatever. But if it's actually a really good film, I'm surprised. Why not go out and share your work? And sort of honor the hard work of your crew and your cast and the people behind it. So my plan was always to make it the best film I could, and then actually take it out there. And it has been received incredibly well, because it's a bit of a hybrid movie. It's sort of horror, but it's psychological horror. So it could also veer into thriller. And it has like, it's all twist upon a twist upon a twist upon a twist. So it played really well. It's won a ton of awards. It's actually helped my career as an actor and a filmmaker, because I'm in it myself. I've been cast in lots of projects based on people seeing that film. And then I got my first horror screenplay, got optioned by a production company that were okay with me directing that feature based on the work of The Son, the Father, and my sci-fi short. They loved both of those films and said, listen, we're okay being that production company that'll make you direct your first feature. So that's essentially what this did for me. I mean, it really opened up a lot of doors, and part of that was really getting it out to festivals and just submitting to as many as I felt had quality going for them.
Awesome.
Let's take a peek at the trailer. Let people see it.
Yep. Okay.
Here we go.
There is sound, but not right now, apparently.
Yeah, you can't hear it on our side. The audience can.
Oh, I see.
If Mom sees me talking to you.
No, I know. Here, happy birthday. Let me know if you need anything, okay, hon? So I'm here for you.
You're saying happy birthday, Luke.
Mom?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
There's the sound of a buzzing fly throughout all this.
Mom?
Mom?
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's
You know,
a little teaser.
and just to, I mean, speaking of partnerships, I mean, this is episode centered around the HollyShorts Northwest partnership, but I will say, now that we have you on, Lukas, there's got to be, I've never had to fly into another state with a crew of 30 to 40 and shoot a film where I knew nobody, and be in pre-production over, Skype and casting over Skype. And so I can't imagine the level of anxiety that you experience going through all that. But one of the things that I noticed about Lukas, when the moment he landed, the moment he integrated with the crew, he was more kind, more respectful, and just more upbuilding than all the friends already there. Like, he gave everybody time. He gave, if they had an opinion that didn't align with his vision, he still listened to it. He valued the opinion and then still stuck with his creative tone. It was probably one of the most...
dismissed them. They just completely ignored their advice, right?
But I've never met somebody that could make someone feel so good about their advice being ignored. They're like, he didn't listen to anything, but I really feel good.
I feel heard. That's half the battle. Well, listen, being an actor, I was in the film as well. It was terrifying to not have an eye that I knew I could trust. Thankfully, I feel like I've done enough as an actor at this point to sort of know when what I do works and when it doesn't work. So that was the easy part. The hard part was basically figuring out, how to make the most of everybody's abilities. And because I didn't know anybody, I had to sort of really observe quickly about how different people worked, in my sort of higher tier of crew. I had to figure out how my DP liked to work, what my AD was like, and then the set designer, you can push so far. And then my actors, some of them had to be sort of cuddle a little more than others. And so it was really an exercise in just being zen, being in the moment. And again, as I said, every morning, my mantra was be pleasant, be present. And that was key. The fact that I have been on sets before as an actor, I knew what the actors might need from me. And then I knew, being on sets, if I was ever to be the filmmaker, how I would like to treat my crew. Because I've certainly seen nightmare versions of how that goes down, and I was never going to be that. I knew that much. So, I think you get the best work out of being pleasant and being present, basically.
Awesome. Truth. So we're going to move on to our 2018 filmmaker. Lukas, if you need to go, totally cool.
I'll hang out. Listen, I'll hang out.
Awesome. Well, let's...
I'll mute myself. How about that?
Now you don't need to mute yourself. We're at the 2018 silence. 2018 festival screenplay winner, and then shot in 2019 again, an opening night film. This was Jameson, and we can bring in John. I know he's been waiting in the lobby, Todd, and this was the first time we brought in not only a writer director, but we brought in an LA producer and an LA actor as the lead. John Humber. What's up, brother?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Hanging in there, staying healthy, staying safe.
Welcome to the party.
It's quite a party. I've been watching.
I'm
not always hearing, but I've been watching.
We all got beard.
Today's been a very audible, enjoying experiment.
You know what? I have a motto. It's stay present, stay pleasant.
That's an homage. I got it.
I'm using that, Lukas.
I already wrote it down.
It's real.
We're all walking away with we've stolen Lukas's tagline.
Yeah.
So, John, give us a little bit of background on yourself, and then a little bit about the film and what your experience was.
Okay. Background to myself. I've been in LA now. I live in LA. I've been here for about 21 years, working in the film industry, doing pretty much everything that anyone will pay me for. So I've worked on, I don't know, 100 films or so over the last 20 plus years. God, I feel old. And I've written and directed. I produce a lot, but yeah. And I became aware of HollyShorts because I had a short film called The Other Side that played there in, I think it was 2014. I don't know. Years are irrelevant nowadays, aren't they? Days are irrelevant. But yeah, and I had such a great experience with that, and I went off and worked on a couple other things. And then I wrote this short film on kind of a whim. It came from a drunken conversation with a friend of mine at a bar, which is why the short's called Jameson. And he said, hey, let's just go make a short film, just write something and we'll go and make it. And that sounded like a good idea about 6 Jamesons in. So I outlined it on my phone at the bar. And then the next day I wrote the script. And after a couple days, I was like, oh, this actually works. It's good. And I remembered HollyShorts, and I remembered the screenplay competition that you guys run. And so I looked that up, and it happened to be a couple days before the deadline. So I cleaned it up and submitted it because I'm like, hey, might as well take a swing. Like Lukas said before, like screenplay competitions are, you never expect to win because you get so many submissions and anything can knock you out. And I mean, the prize is, I mean, it's the ultimate carrot to dangle in front of a filmmaker of, if you win this, you don't just get like a little laurel, you get the opportunity to get your thing produced. And that was worth way more than the entry fee. So I took a swing, and when I was a finalist, I felt like I'd won because that means I got a pass to the festival and I could go down every day and watch a bunch of films, which I mean, I'm on the metro. I'm like 10 minutes from the Chinese where the festival is. So it was, that was really great. And then I almost didn't go to the closing night ceremony because it was my friend's birthday and we were going to go see Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I'm like, I don't need to go to see other people win awards. But I decided to go, and I'm really glad I did because I ended up winning, which shocked me. And I ended up taking the trophy, which I would show, but I gave it to my mom. I took that with me, put it around my neck on my HollyShorts lanyard, and wore that to Rocky Horror Picture Show. So kind of like a Flavor Flav type of thing with my HollyShorts trophy. But I mean, at Rocky Horror, I fit in. And then that led to, and still at that point, like Lukas said, you never know if it's real. You're like, this sounds way too good to be true. So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I'll meet this Ben character and talk to him. And Ben being all Hollywood emailed me. He's like, I'm going to be in town for AFI. So I went and met him at a fancy hotel in the lobby at AFI. And we had a drink and talked. And he actually turned out to be a normal person, a real person, and a nice person. And Ben hooked me up with Lukas, who was in town for a film festival with the Son, the Father. And so he and I met up for a drink. And I'm like, okay, tell me what I'm walking into. And we had a couple beers and a great conversation. And he put my mind at ease. And then we were off and running. And it was tough. Like the toughest thing for me, having written, produced, and directed before, was working with a crew that I didn't know remotely. The location of Seattle was ideal for the short because it was set in the woods. But prepping long distance was a challenge and scary. And yeah, it gave me a lot of anxiety until I was able to go up there, I think 2 days before we shot, and had a production meeting. And I think I may have overwhelmed everyone because I ran it like I would on a production meeting on like a feature film, like going through beat by beat, shot by shot on the script. And they're like, who is this guy? But I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to stuff like that. But it was a challenging shoot. And we shot it in 3 days in the woods, and felt kind of like a camping trip because we shot on a little island, Vashon Island, which we had to take the entire crew had to ferry out to this island. We stayed in it's like a summer camp with cabins and bunk beds and people jammed in rooms together. So it had a fun vibe with that. And I think we all really bonded over the challenge of making a pretty ambitious short with like stunts and effects and creatures and time under those time constraints. But I went in kind of like Lukas with, you know what, I'm just going to make the best of this. Like, yeah, I can't control any of these variables. I don't know these people. I brought my producing partner out with me just so I had that voice that I trusted, that I knew that I could check in with. And within no time, we became a family on the shoot and made a fun little movie that I'm really proud of.
Well, and John, you speak to a really solid point that I think it's important for anybody who's watching this about partnerships. Is it's not always smooth, right? It's not always sunshine and butterflies. When we were shooting this project specifically, as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, this is workforce development. So we always try to get professional keys, backfill with students or people who might not have been on a set before, and you just try to have this balance. And I remember with your film, John, the shotgun specifically, because we brought in some of the cosplay community to kind of play with.
Yes, you did.
What cosplayers bring to the set, and the shotgun in this film was very important. It was a very important visual. Well, all the weapons were, and we had.
But it was the hero shotgun. It was the lead character's shotgun. And he's defending his home, and there are threatening forces in the woods, and so he needs to defend himself. And anyway, the shotgun is a great story. I'm glad you brought it up. I wasn't going to, but so I get a picture of like, oh, here's the hero shotgun, and I was like, that looks really weird, but it's a photo, and again, prepping long distance is challenging, and I'm like, okay, there's something about this that looks off. And I showed my little brother, he's 15 years younger than me, and he's like, dude, you know what that is? He's like, he's like, do you know the Nerf toy shotgun that I had growing up? He's like, it's that, but painted black and brown. And so this thing is about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet long. So it would make the actor, Brad, it would make him look like a giant playing with a plastic toy. So it was a plastic Nerf shotgun. And this was a couple days before I went out to shoot. And so I had a mild panic attack. And then it was, it's like Ben and Lorraine and everyone, it's like we had a call, and it's like, okay, let's find guns. Of course, make it safe and find guns that can't fire. And because
they're everywhere, we can find them.
But there are very specific gun laws in Seattle that made it even more challenging. And I had my older brother, who's a teacher, reach out on Facebook to all of his students, and one of his students ended up being working at a gun store in Seattle, which is really weird. I'm from Phoenix, but he was working there. So he ended up providing a AR-15, a real AR-15, but the stock was blocked, so it was incapable of firing. So it was 100% safe, like all that, all the muzzle flashes, all of that was done in post. And so he provided that. Ben, you guys found, I forgot who, but you guys found like Brad, the lead actor, found the shotgun. He's like, oh, you need a shotgun? I got a shotgun that is a replica. It's a cap gun, but it looks real. So I brought that out from LA with Brad, who's a friend of mine. He was the only actor we brought out from LA. So he brought the shotgun out with him. I ended up flying back with it, and it looked real enough that I got stopped by the police at the airport because they thought I was trying to check a shotgun in my luggage. That was a whole different story that I thought Ben was playing a practical joke on me, but no, it was actually Seattle PD. And Ben almost played a practical joke on me when I got there and had us pulled over by Renton PD saying, we hear you have a shotgun in your car. And of course it's a cap gun, but yeah, he told me that the shotgun's a whole thing.
No more traveling with any props.
Long story short, partnerships are a moving target, and there's give and take.
And it was like Jameson was very much a learning set, like, because a lot of the crew was comprised of people that didn't have a lot of experience, of film students, and what everyone didn't bring an experience, they made up for in positive energy and attitude and passion. Everyone was so excited to be there. And being in LA, and Lukas, I'm sure it's the same for you in New York, like you spend enough time on film sets, people in like the film-centric cities like LA and New York, they're bitter and jaded, and they take things for granted. They're not excited to be on a film set. It's an inconvenience. And it's like, oh, I'm going to the office. But going up to Seattle, like everyone is really excited to make a movie. It's like, I'm on a film set. Like, what does this mean? So I would be helping, I don't know, the prop department or the lighting department or like different departments, because I have experience doing a lot of different things. And so it was kind of a teaching experience for them, but the attitude was amazing and infectious.
So an evolution that we've noticed as well too. Like there's an expectation now, just like there was an expectation of when we created the festival. Now it's like this. It's a big deal, and there's I don't know, 2 or 3 three Oscar qualifying categories. There's an expectation. There's an expectation now with these films. People are used to a certain caliber now. The bar is raised, and so they expect them to be good, and they're good. So people come out of the screen, they're like, "That was some of the best stuff I've seen." So it's an amazing feeling for us, because we have a high bar, and with your work, it's incredible. What a process, right? So I mean, you guys should touch on your process and your experience, prior to this, that's prepared you to deliver this, and then get the nod to make it, and then the execution, right? You never know, but the end result is amazing. We don't see, Daniel and I, we just see when it's about to exhibit sometimes, and it's like, man. And so it's a strange thing. I don't know. Is it destiny? I don't know what it is.
It's a cool exercise to see it from this perspective and talk about it, because obviously we're in the throes of watching so many movies and waiting for the film and seeing an edited cut and having our input. But at the same time, this is happening over here while we're waiting to see what happens. So there's a sort of element of disconnect there that we're excited and waiting to see what happens. When we hear the whole scope of it, to understand that, you don't know these people yet. You just got to Seattle, as a filmmaker, you're coming in to a new environment and working together and bringing this all together and then making this happen so we see the final cut. We're like, this is great. So we're excited, but there's a lot that goes into that's amazing. It's amazing. Really. Yeah. It's something we should appreciate and not just kind of like tiptoe around, or like, we should be proud. Everyone here should all be proud of what has been accomplished, because it is easy to say, okay, well, you get this money and you can make a movie. But like you said, there's meeting crew for the first time, new locations. Maybe you've never been to Seattle before. Many people probably, maybe for everyone here, I'm not sure who it was the first time for Lukas or John, or, it was the first time or not in the region even. So, and then meeting Ben, who's like you said, all of a sudden Ben has this mysterious, like, oh, I got to talk to this Ben Andrew character. Like, it's like you have this mythical thing going on. Now I win, I get to talk to Ben. It's like, who is this Ben person? What does this mean? But now, as Theo mentioned, it is grown into something, and there's expectations. And the quality is there now. So we're now thinking this needs to be like this, and we can exhibit this at the festival. People expect to see great films, great work, because again, there is a caliber expected at the festival. We program 400 movies out of 6,000 submissions. We're Oscar qualifying, so it's very hard to get into. So we're ushering in a slot, but we're expecting the film to obviously play where you're not going to watch it and think the crowd's like, oh, well, what's that movie there? That's in there because of this. Oh, okay. Where everything else is really high caliber, and then this isn't falling off. That's not what's happening, and that's not what we would want to allow. So
no
it's
pressure,
really
Linda. No pressure, Linda, at all.
Yeah, you better.
No pressure for Linda. Yeah, I'm putting her. We're qualified. We're thinking Oscars, so we're gonna get to that. But yeah, no, it's awesome to see the evolution of that. But it's, and also Jameson, we'll get into that next. I'll tell you now, like John, go ahead and fill us in about the festival side, because not only again HollyShorts, but Jameson played at so many festivals. I mean, again, I don't know the number is also.
Right. Let's pause real quick. John, do you care if we play the trailer real quick, and then you can speak to your point?
Go for it.
Let's get that notched off the agenda. Todd, are you ready to play it? Here we go.
Very much a teaser.
There you go. Now, what were you gonna say, John?
I forgot the question already.
We want to transition into the festival experience.
Oh, the festival experience. I didn't cast as wide of a net for financial reasons, because submitting to festivals can add up and be expensive. So I was very targeted in my approach. And I mean, we played at some really good festivals. We probably played at like 15, 20 festivals, and like won some stuff, which is really cool. And I've had some great experiences. But one thing that came out, because my goal in making a film is to get it seen, is to get people to watch it. And one thing you guys at HollyShorts have been great. You made a connection with our film and Alter, which is a horror short film division of Gunpowder and Sky. And they have a really cool YouTube channel for horror films, for horror shorts. And so you guys made that introduction. They picked up Jameson and put it on their channel. And because of that, it has, I don't know, like last time I checked, it was like 1.5 million views, which is way more people than I ever expected to see this movie. So yeah, we played at some really cool festivals, like, I don't know, Phoenix and Cucaloris, and like got to go all over the country with this. And but that connection that you guys created allowed for so many people to see it, and made it easy for me to share it with people that wanted to watch it. And because at the same time that we were premiering at HollyShorts, I was writing the feature version of the script. So that became a really easy way to help me pitch and sell the feature version of Jameson, which is now, I mean, we'll see if and when it ever happens, or if and when we ever go back to normal life with COVID. But it's been optioned, and we're hoping to make it soon. Right. Knock on wood.
So, gentlemen, I just had this epiphany that it is almost midnight where Lindiwe is living.
It's not. No, it's actually 10 p.m.
Oh.
I'm at time. You know me and time, Ben. We're like,
where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Berlin. I'm in Berlin right now.
Cool.
I love Berlin.
Yeah, it's great. But I was in South Africa. I was stuck in Cape Town before
Right.
You know the situation.
You were in Cape Town for most of the pandemic quarantine, right? Yeah. Now you're home. So let's talk about your project a little bit. We have another one in there, bestseller TV, which was our 2019, and we approached that a little bit differently. Actually, let's just show that one real quick. We got a trailer, and then we'll go right to you. We won't talk too much about this one, simply because in 2019, the bestseller one had a really core LA-centric cast and producers, and so we literally just funded part of that budget. I know from the Summit perspective, and I think from HollyShorts. So this was the most hands-off we had been on any project.
Out. You were late. You pull that again, and I'll make sure you need to do messed up porn to pay for food. Oh, Cindy, your mother needs you.
Here.
You motherfucker.
Back in 3, 2.
Well, hello, y'all. This hour, we're going to show you an amazing new home salon appliance the mail-order brides don't want you to know about. So hang tight. We'll be back in a flash.
But while she heats up, we're going to take a call from our loyal at-home audience.
Susan from Idaho.
Susan from Idaho. Beautiful state. Much more than just potatoes.
Yes, also home to the capital city of Boise.
Oh, I hate to correct you, Charlize, but it's pronounced Boise.
That's incorrect.
It most certainly isn't.
Let it go.
I will never let it go. So why don't we just let the natives settle this, Susan?
Susan? It's Boise, right?
It's was, Susan.
Ready, camera B?
Susan? Well, I guess we'll just never know. Charlize, what is that smell?
Well, it must be the caramel corn we're cooking up for the 4 o'clock hour, but snack time will have to wait.
Boo.
Because we need to check in on the beloved star of our show, Marla.
Take camera B.
And here she is with her brand new head of...
Run away! What are we doing? Stop showing it! Cut to commercial! We don't do commercials!
That was Nora Kirkpatrick, and she couldn't make it today. but that was the most, from the Northwest perspective, that was the most hands-off one that we had. And that was, we always try to do this as workforce development, but this was more of a workforce development from our producer side. Where are you? I can't hear you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
All right.
Now I couldn't hear that first part, Daniel.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, the great team behind that project, as far as already laid out. Once they got accepted and we were, and it was in the finalist stage, we obviously quickly noticed the caliber of the script, but also the team behind it, the production company and the people that were behind it already. So as you see with the cast and some of that caliber, and being LA based, it was a sort of different project there, different process.
Yeah, we definitely tried to get that cast, all of it, to the Northwest, but because they were on so many different great shows, we just couldn't facilitate that production here. But we've got to move on just because of time, and I'm sorry we're all running a little late. If any of you need to, bail, I completely understand. Thank you for joining us, but I don't want you to leave. So, Lindy, let's talk about your project. Desmond's not here anymore. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came up with this script?
Well, my background is I was kind of one of those children that listened to everything their parents said, and I got an MBA stupidly when I shouldn't have been studying business and probably should have been studying creative writing or something else. But there was a class actually that changed my life and actually got me into film. I was taking my MBA and like bogged down with all these economics classes. And there was a lady with this hippie with long hair. And she said, everybody write down your life dream of what you want to do right now. And I wrote, I want to be a costume designer on a film. And at that time I was living in Atlanta. It was when everybody was moving all their films, to shoot in Atlanta. And Paramount Pictures was shooting a film called The Fighting Temptations, with like the strangest cast, the weirdest story. But I was working for 2 weeks as a PA in the wardrobe department, non-union, I didn't have a union card. And the costume designer loved me and she said, you know what, Beyonce's coming to set. I want you to be her costumer. I worked with Beyonce, it was an incredible experience. Then after about 2 weeks, I got fired. One of the costume people said, she's not union, she's not supposed to be touching the actors. I went home, cried my eyeballs out, and then got a call a week later. Beyonce's people want you back on set, and that's how I got my union card. And that whole experience, because I mean, I'd always loved film, but that experience is so different if you've never been on set. Seeing people from all walks of life, people from the grips to the directors to the actors coming together to tell a story was something that always stuck with me. And then from there, I worked on a few other films in Atlanta. And the one that really kind of was like breaking, that just like made me run away, was I worked on Revenge of the Nerds. It was like a remake that never got made. And the teen actors were so horrible to us, to everybody that worked there. They acted like they were Meryl Streep, and I was like, I never want to work on film again. It was a horrible experience. I quit film. I moved to Cape Town, South Africa, went back into like the fashion industry. And then I was like, oh, I really miss films. And then I went back, worked on an HBO film with Kenneth Branagh. He did like the FDR. They did a thing with FDR and Cynthia Nixon, a remake of it, which was a really incredible experience to work on a period piece. And then it was just, I moved back to South Africa. It was really hard to break into the film industry. And like I said, I was one of those people that just kind of listened to what their parents said and never had enough courage to say like, I'm moving to LA, I'm gonna do it, you know? And then I started working as a songwriter and falling again in love with just words. And I did that for a while, and then I just wanted to tell like longer stories. And 4 years ago, I took a boutique writing class in Cape Town, South Africa. And that is kind of where this whole screenwriting thing started. And this short film that I wrote, Desmond's Not Here Anymore, was the first time, because at the time I was working as a co-writer with someone and kind of feeling my confidence kind of through that, you know, like, can I write by myself? This was the first time that I wrote by myself, and I felt like I was honest, you know, like it just felt real. And the reason why I think it felt so real is because it actually took me, for these 10, 13 pages, it took me a year to write it because I couldn't face it. It was actually inspired by my own sexual abuse. And I started writing it and I had the great intention of like finishing it, but I just couldn't. I sat with it for a year. Then I watched the Michael Jackson documentary, Leaving Neverland, I think it's called. And then I was like, boom. And I just went back and I just like finished it and wrote it. And, you know, like you say, Lukas, it's like you enter these things and you're just like, yeah, right. You know, yeah, right. But, you know, why not? And to actually win this is such a, it did so many things for me confidence-wise, as far as like, I can write and tell my own stories. But also deeper inside of like, wow, that's the first time I've actually been honest on the page and look what happens, you know? I mean, as we know, sometimes they throw roses, sometimes they throw stones, you know, you just, but I think that whole thing of sticking with honesty in my work stuck with me. So yeah, that's kind of how this whole idea was conceptualized, was just me being honest. And yeah.
Amazing journey. And then we just, you know, the best of the best make it. That's the thing that's crazy. Is it's
you guys have some amazing films, because when I went to go see, because I flew in from was I in Berlin? I think I flew in from Berlin for closing night, and I was actually I saw a couple a night before, some of the films. You guys, the standard of films is incredible. I just was, yeah, it's intimidating. It's intimidating.
No, it's so.
Are you going to direct your own script?
So I have a director in mind, but I have a friend who actually lives here in Berlin. She's a DOP, an incredible female DOP. And when I told her about this story, even before I had entered into HollyShorts, she was like, this is your story. Like, I will hold you hand by, you know, we will go side by side through this together. You can direct this. And it looks like now that's kind of the way that it's going, yes. With the, I must say, with also the hand holding and pushing of Ben and Daniel and Theo saying like, you can do this.
Yeah. If you have a strong AD and a strong couple of people like these gentlemen around you, definitely go for it. It's going to be tough, but you have good people with you, so I'm sure you're going to be able to pull that off beautifully.
Yeah. I think it's going to work out great in your stories. It's going to be best. That's how we kind of look at it. And also looking at the history of the contest, everyone we've talked to here, everyone who's written their projects have also directed their projects to this point, as far as the winners.
I mean, I used to direct my own music videos, but yeah, I mean, you know how that is. But I guess it's like, when you make a film, you just pull everything together. And like you said, it's like we're learning it all together, you know, through the mistakes and yeah.
Yeah, prep. That's my big advice. Not that you asked for it, but prep.
Bring it on.
So Lindiwe has not only been working with a remote team, we've decided to put pandemic on top of all that. So she's been pushing ahead as quite the brave soul.
Yeah, so all of my actresses are going to be wearing hazmat suits, and we've changed. We don't need costume design anymore.
I have a request for everybody.
Yes.
Remember us. So talented. We know. As you're advancing your careers, always, you know, remember us. We'd love to have you come back for talks, and the world comes back, you know. We think big picture and long term. So we love for you guys to always be involved. It's still run like a family business, and the up and comers would love to hear your experience and your growth and how, as you develop further. And I think it's great to continue doing things like this.
Well, you guys do such an amazing job with this festival, and I had the fortune/misfortune of being a part of a film festival where I was part of the selection committee, and it's hard, and there's so much stuff, and you guys curate such a wide, diverse selection of quality films. I don't know how you do it every year, but the bar is incredibly high, and you guys keep growing the festival. the panels you have, the way you bring filmmakers together. It's a really special festival, and I would be honored as whenever I can contribute to keep doing that for the rest of my career.
Awesome. You know, I have to thank you, John, for bringing that up because obviously I'm a Northwest filmmaker, right? I started my career here. I intend to keep my career here, and your festival was probably one of the first 6 or 7 that I'd attended in LA, and I'd been to a broad selection. And there's a very specific reason that this partnership has continued, and that's because of that feeling. Like, no matter what was going on, you guys were generous, you were kind, and you were always there to connect people to other people and provide opportunity. And every time I attend your festival, what I feel is that I need to take this feeling back to Washington and bring more Washingtonians to get that feeling, because it makes it all worth it.
I was just going to say that you're also describing yourself, because we can't take the Seattle Film Summit out of this, and the amount of work that you have put together up in your end of the woods, so to speak, as well, because you've created an incredible team of loyal supporters of indie cinema, and together with HollyShorts, you guys have created this sort of really cool magic potion for writers and filmmakers. So you should also give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely, and is like, I think the thing is the relationship, we value relationships. Theo and I have always operated in trust and people we feel we have that connection with. You just know and feel it. When we met him at the festival, Southwest, we were all partying, having a good time, but the conversation was there and was real. And like we said, he stuck to that, and we all kind of followed up and had real intention. And we felt that. And sometimes with some people you meet, you just feel that thing. It's just the connection's there, the relationship, it just works, and people just get along. So it always has been that. So there is that similarity that, yes, essentially, Ben, you have the same, we all have the kindred spirit of what we're trying to do and accomplish, and you're doing it there. So we all connect that way. We all feel like we all have the same sort of mindset with all this stuff, and the way we want to go about it. That's what it is.
Well, there's a common thread, and I think this is great as we close out this episode about partnerships. The common thread with all of you, and I feel it with, and have felt it with all of you, is that a piece of your magic formula is elevation of other humans who are in your sphere. And if you can engineer that into your own magic, that while you're on your journey, you just want to elevate others, no matter how difficult those partnerships become, you'll find success.
No, definitely. Yeah, so, and I just want to quickly also interject with the films, and as we've gone on this path of like looking at the beginning to now, I really just marvel at what's been made and what's gone on and what's happened with the films, with John and Jameson and what that's done, and on the feature film and all that potential there and all that's gone on in Alter and on the views and million views and Son of the Father, and so many festivals and people talking about it, loving it, enjoying it at the festival, first time opening night, all this stuff in between. Nora's film is fantastic, an amazing film, great cast, the caliber's there, it's been pitched to networks for show, and she's a great director and writer. So just seeing this journey of the whole scope of it, and now it's a Lindy's project and what's to become, and yeah, we do have our expectations ourselves now. We're now going to qualify every winner going forward after we make them as well. So we're thinking Oscars, we should have been doing it all along, but I guess the light bulb didn't go off till like last year. I was like, wait, we can't qualify them they can't win the festival because there are projects. We can't do that. They can't be in competition, but we can qualify them. We've done it before. We know what to do there. We know the process. So why are we not qualifying these films and see if they can go on and go all the way? And we've had success at the Oscars with other films that have won the festival, like Skin, and and so now we're thinking bigger with this, and that's the bar. So yes, the pressure, I guess, is on, Lindy.
So it's Oscars or bust for your film. So no pressure.
And now we're going to. But that said, also your film is a drama. It's different than, it's not a genre film. The Academy nod is. Jameson is an awesome, fun horror film that, just to be quite frank, how the Oscars are. We're gonna go this route all the way, no matter what. But you know how it is. Certain films fit that sort of tone and mold in that way. Where so we gotta.
You have goals, right? It's just like sports. We don't play just for exhibition.
Very nice.
Trying to win.
Well, my friends, thank you all for joining us. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the time I've had on journeys with each of you. And Lindy, we're all excited about continuing our journey with you.
Thank you. Lucas and John, I would love to email you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You will send the email out.
I'll connect everybody. I don't know why I didn't do that on this one.
I got a closing music.
I got a virtual background here to commemorate the HollyShorts experience.
Hey.
Go out on that, and just
Look at that.
My final note.
Look at that! Oh, look at these young guys! Look at it.
That tall drink of water.
All the young
Yeah, look, there's Lukas.
My shorts.
So these are 5 completely different projects, all done by different people, but there's common threads. So my closing thought is, partnership is a living, breathing thing. It changes and evolves, and sometimes it blooms into things you're not expecting. So take that into your partnerships. Thank you guys for allowing me to be on your journey, and we'll see you in the trenches.
And be pleasant and be present.
Exactly.